it is that time again to fly back home, visit friends and family, and take a break from work for a week. So here we are at the Seattle airport at about 3:30, 4 in the morning, where we see about nobody. But it is fun walking around the airport this early in the morning because you can really just kind of go anywhere. Now you may remember this neon sculpture art piece here from an older video or vlog of mine. And the last time I was here, I noticed that the yellow neon tube was broken and just sitting inside from them moving it, I'm sure, because it's not in the same spot that it was before. And it looks like they just removed it entirely. You can see at the beginning of this clip, there's a hole there in the bottom. The other thing is, if you read this tube here, it says green. So maybe some of the tubes got refilled with a different type of gas? Not entirely sure, but it is nice to see that it's still out being displayed and enjoyed. So let's go ahead and just continue our stroll through the airport.
May I have your attention, please? Joe Abrahamson, please return to TSA checkpoint number 2 for a left behind item.
To be honest, I was flying back home for my birthday, my golden birthday to be exact, so I thought I'd treat myself to a nice first-class ride here on the Delta Airlines home and back. So this will be a very fun experience, especially having the extra leg room and just room in general. I can tell you one thing, when I was done, my legs did not hurt or cramp up like they would in the regular main cabin in the back. What I do first class all the time, it was quite expensive, but I don't know, maybe if I find a good deal, I guess we'll have to see. Being a first class flight in the morning, they did serve us breakfast, and if I remember correctly, we'll go through what it is here. So I believe the main dish was some type of quiche, and we had some little chopped up potatoes with little pieces of bacon. It was pretty good, actually. Of course, we had a little fruit bowl and some apple cinnamon style like jelly there in the top to go with your little Danish down in the corner. Overall, it was pretty good. Me and my parents took a trip to a pretty neat selvage place that my dad found, and in the first picture here we have some of my finds. Of course, you can see the triple circle line fixture there. That does have a video on the main channel. Go and check that out. It's pretty cool. It is rapid start, but a triple circle line fixture, that's pretty rare. Next to it there we have a dual lamp F20 T12 fluorescent adapter. This goes on a 4-inch globe fitting and changes it over to a fluorescent fixture. I've always seen these online, but it was so cool again to find both of these fixtures in person. Now, this one here has glass end pieces on it. Same type of idea. It goes on a 4-inch globe incandescent fitting and changes it over to fluorescent. Both of these fixtures are preheat, so again, there'll definitely be videos of these coming in the future. Now, this is a very early 250 watt mercury vapor bulb. Unfortunately, the bottom of the arc tube appears to have a crack in it, so I'm not sure if we'll ever be able to turn it on without, hurting it. But this is a very cool find. And one of these mushroom bulbs. Those are always neat to find. You don't see them too often out in the wild, but online you can find them on eBay and stuff like that. Now here we have another fluorescent fixture. This one is a 32 watt Circline, but it's an adapter again. You can put it on a incandescent globe fixture and convert it over to a preheat fluorescent. Very cool. And last but not least, we have a bunch of older fluorescent tubes, a mix of T12 and T8, and also some 40 watt and 20 watt, and I think those T8s are 30 watt. But the very cool ones are the ones in that box there, those original Westinghouse Black Enders. There's, I think all 6 of them are still in there, and the packages are in amazing condition. Even though I said this was last but not least, there is one more thing to share. Just picked all these up. Beautiful find. Now, just to clean them up. Went with my parents to visit my aunts at a local park, and here we can take a look at the stream going by, and I believe there's some other pictures we'll take a look at too. Underneath the main pavilion in the park, which I forgot to take a picture of, there's these abandoned rooms. There's no way to get into them, but you can look into them through these vents outside. And the best way for me to look in there really was to take pictures by putting my phone through the vent. So that's how these pictures were taken. But I wonder if these used to be bathrooms or like changing rooms or something, as the park does have a little beach area so you can go and swim in the river. So here's a closer look at some of the old light bulb sockets on the ceiling. I didn't see any light bulbs left anymore. And here's the room on the other side. I'm sure there was a women's and a men's side originally. Rearranged some of my lights in the shed for my dad to have a little more space up here in the loft area, and I just thought I'd take a picture. I mean, you can see a couple fixtures there that I haven't even done videos on yet, and a little bit of my insulator collection. My dad installed this little Lasco ceiling fan in the garage while I was gone to circulate the warm air in the winter better, because he put a new heater in the corner, and this, of course, moves the heat down and around in the room to keep it well circulated. So it's neat to see this thing installed. I originally picked it up quite a while ago. I think I did a video, just unboxing it, but it was nice to see it put to use. Now, I should have done a video of it while I was there, but I didn't think of it. All we have is this picture at the moment. Most certainly spent a lot of time with my friends, doing different things. Here we are at the dog park, playing games, taking walks, whatever. It was really nice to see them after not seeing them for quite a while. And it's time to fly back home. So here we are, once again in first class. A little different of a plane, as we got in the middle back there rather than the front. But again, we have a nice amount of leg room and a wonderful view. flight back was in the late afternoon, so they kind of have a dinner going on here. We have a very nice pot roast with mashed potatoes and carrots, and we have a salad with some type of dressing. I'm not sure what it was, but it was sweet. It went very well with the salad there. And the dessert was some type of cheesecake with a orange topping on it and a little blackberry there. Overall, I was very pleased with it. As we descend, we see Green Lake here in the middle, while we take a look at Ballard at the top of the screen, and as we go directly over, University District. Of course, we have Lake Union with Gasworks Park on the right, and Queen Anne at the top of the screen. We're flying directly over Capitol Hill, which you cannot see, and of course, downtown itself, on a very cloudy day. Of course, we can see the stadiums here as we make our way into the industrial area of South Seattle. Now, the plane is pretty much going directly over Beacon Hill and Rainier Valley as we make our way south, but along the Duwamish River here, we can see South Park, a little tiny area right there in the bottom of your screen. And of course, we make our way along here. As we continue, we see White Center at the top of the screen, and of course we slowly make our way down here and see a little bit of Burien as we land at SeaTac Airport.
I just can't seem to stop thinking about this wonderful fixture. So, in an effort to make it quieter and keep it original, I have sourced another ballast. While I was back home, I decided to take apart one of those cheap Regent Cooper Lighting 175 watt mercury vapor area lights and send the parts out here for use in this fixture. So, we have the photocell that was on that Cooper Lighting Regent area light, the socket, the mogul socket, and the ballast itself. So this is how I wrapped it up, put it in the mail, and of course it ended up here absolutely fine. I didn't even wrap this thing up. It was just in there with the other filling. I wasn't too worried about it. It's not in the best shape anyway, but hey, it's a photocell. It does work at least. So, obviously the newer design mercury vapor ballasts are smaller than the bigger ones that were made back then, so I'm sure this won't fit exactly. We'll have to make some type of support or bracket or something for it, but we're going to go ahead and open these things up. I even made individual strips of bubble wrap to go in the coils here to protect the plastic on the sides, and then there's this cover on top of the terminals here to protect those as well, because they are prone to breaking, just like what happened to me on this one over here when I was taking it out of the fixture. So what I did is drilled a little hole there, as you can see, and zip tied this terminal on there. Hopefully that'll be okay. This isn't the first time this has happened either. I took one of these ballasts out of another one of those cheap area lights, and the same thing happened. So that's no surprise. I mean, it's not the highest quality thing, but it definitely will be quieter. So now we just need to get the rest of the individual bubble wrap off. Very small compared to the older one, and we'll compare them more here once I get the other one out, but I wanted to at least share the label here. So there's the information. It doesn't say a brand or anything on it. The reason I sent the socket out here too is the fact that it has the terminal connectors on it. The other one that's in there has the wires directly go inside, and then they're kind of riveted or screwed down, where here you just have to slide on the terminal. So that should be nice and easy. We'll see if it touches the enclosure. Hopefully it doesn't, but we at least have all the wires here. Like this one goes to the broken terminal to the socket, so we're all good there. Now we just need to open up the fixture itself. There's the two ballasts side by side. There's most certainly a size difference and quantity of metal used difference. Yeah, for sure. McGraw Edison and made in China. At least I'm pretty sure it's probably made in China. It's about the same thickness. This looks like it's a little thicker actually, ever so slightly. But the concern here is the fact that it's not the same hole spacing, so we have to figure that one out. But I'm sure there will be a way. Since most of the holes were filled in with the varnish or coating, whatever you want to call it, I ended up having to drill it out here. Just found a bit of the same size because one of them was already open, and just drilled out the varnish that was in there. We're good to go. One thing to note is that the terminals on both of the ballasts are exactly the same size. So they have kept this small little spade connector style connector thing the same size all these years. The hard part is that getting off these wires from this cheaper ballast is very difficult. That's how I broke this one and why I gave up and left these on. But it would be nice if I can get these off, because I can just drop it in and hook up the wires that are already here, which would be wonderful. So I'm going to try to hold the base of the connector and then pull it off or wiggle it off that way, because that would be pretty cool to keep the original wiring and everything just the way it is, because it's in fine condition. It's just the fact that something's wrong with the ballast in the inside of the coils that we can't see. Thankfully, with the help of some very small needle nose, we were able to hold the connectors and pull off the wires without having the same problem we had over here. So let's talk about some different ways to mount this. I think this is the route that I'm going to go. Just like some of the, at least modern at the time, area lights did it. They had the two screws and then a bracket that went across to clamp it in place. I think that'll be the best way, since it's obviously not the same size here. It can't go, you know, the way it did before. If it was that way and we used just one side, it would hang, and that's not exactly the best thing either. So I think that's what we're going to do. We're gonna have to find a piece of metal or something here to go across and clamp it down into place. So the only strip of metal that I have at the moment is this thing right here, which was left by the people that installed the HVAC system. And it's just to put, you know, pieces of ducting together. They kind of slip in here and it locks into place or something. So, I mean, it's not exactly perfect, but we're going to give it a try. So we're going to measure what we need, cut it, and then drill some holes for the screws. So we got our piece of metal bracket here fabricated, and one more obstacle to overcome. As you can see, the screw is screwed in all the way, but there's still a little bit of a gap there. So we won't be able to clamp down onto it. It'll, you know, wiggle around because there's a little bit of room. So I'll either find some washers or maybe cut some little pieces of this stuff to use as a spacer for the moment, because I don't necessarily want to go and get different screws for this. These are perfectly fine. Just need to find a spacer to help, you know, bend this down a little bit and put pressure where it needs to be on the ballast. There we go. Not too bad, if I do say so myself. So we have the bracket that we made. I put on 4 of these big washers. I just have a whole bunch of these, so no big deal using up them. Got the ground secured again. That's very important, especially because we have open connections in here and stuff like that. But we were able to save all the original connectors here, at least the ones from when we first put it together. All the original wires, all of them clipped right on to the connectors there, no problem. They're on there pretty nicely too. They're not as tight as the originals, but they're definitely snug enough that they're not going to come off. You can see there's a little bit of a bow there in the brace. I tightened these up by hand just to be extra sure that I don't over tighten them. But that bow there means that we definitely have some nice pressure pushing down on the ballast there, which is great. So, what do we have next? Well, we just got to try it out. Okay, with the successful install of the newer ballast, replacing the good old one here. Well, it'd be good if it wasn't so loud. Let's see what we get. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Oh, that's so much quieter. Got something real bright going on there with the arc tube. It looks like it burnt its way through some of the darkness there. Oh, but it's so much quieter. Beautiful. Oh, this is awesome. Okay, I'm gonna let it run for a little while and we'll come back. Very big improvement on the noise. Wow. It's about as loud as the heat fan above my head here. Not bad. Well, let's see if we can try it with a newer bulb. Okay, here's the newer GE bulb. Let's turn it on. Oh, that looks so cool on camera. Beautiful. Again, nice and quiet. Still has that hum. You know, you gotta have a little bit, but definitely not as loud as the old one. This turned out beautiful. I am so happy. Just listen. Yes, that's right. It's not the only thing you hear anymore. Oh, so cool. Very unique fixture, up and working again. I'm debating on if I want to put it up here in the garage or take it to work and enjoy it there. I guess we'll find out in the future. But for now, it's much better.